welcome to another episode of the Weekly Wednesday Warrior. My name is Skylar Hathaway.
I'm Chris Potter.
We are streaming from POW Card Games and Comics in Port Ewan, New York. What are we working on today, Chris?
We're going to be talking about World's Finest, number 14, Nightwing, number 103, and DCeased 8 of 8, final issue.
World's Finest up first?
Yeah.
Alright, so, brief summary of this. Do you feel confident in your ability?
Sure.
Go for it.
So, we're catching up where we left off last week. Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen have published an article. Bruce Wayne is the one who killed Simon Stagg. That's what their headline is.
That's what the
headline
says.
Bruce is calling Clark. He's very angry because what Clark has done is basically stopped him from being Batman and allowing him to help on this case because Bruce Wayne has to be more in the public eye now that he's a suspect of a murder. Can't be doing all this shady disappearing stuff that he likes to do. It'll be suspicious. So, Superman and Robin go to continue to investigate this Metamorpho case, the death of Simon Stagg. They go to find Metamorpho. He's fighting a couple of his old villains, I guess. I don't actually know who these characters are. He's been going through them.
They're these old villains.
Yeah, they're Metamorpho.
I don't really know them either.
Yeah. And Metamorpho, they find Metamorpho. They don't do much with that, but they have Metamorpho on the team. What's really important is Bruce Wayne is getting a call from Oliver Queen. And Oliver Queen is calling to invest in artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And this was probably the worst call for this. So he's calling to invest in artificial intelligence. Bruce immediately is like, Oliver Queen would never do this.
Yeah.
He calls stuff like this fascist.
Yeah, so I
got nothing.
A couple notes. So, Chris is right so far. It does open up with Metamorpho, and there is like a horrific page on page 1. I'll pull up over here.
Yeah.
Dan Morris doing some real horror stuff, making Metamorpho look evil in a way, putting him in a bad light. But then it moves quickly on to a double-page spread of our title sequence that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Because it makes the book way more weighty that they're wasting 2 pages on World's Finest and big type.
And we say wasted, they allocate the space for it. They probably take out some ads or something.
Yeah, it's just, it fits really well after when they use it, because it's kind of like a Star Wars crawl in a way.
Yeah, they do the same thing for the Marvel Star Wars book.
They do. And then in addition to mention, so Chris is totally right. Clark is telling Bruce stuff. Bruce is talking to Clark. They're over the phone. Bruce can't leave his house now because he's a suspect, and he can't go and do Batman stuff because he wouldn't have a proper alibi for what he's doing at night.
Yeah.
And so he's complaining to Bruce that Bruce is complaining to Clark that Clark has basically hobbled Batman. The quote is, "You're a blunder." Has hobbled Batman. So Superman has defeated Batman in a way by printing this article, which is not Superman's intentions. But yeah, we've got Batman has to leave Superman's conversation. Picks up a call from Oliver Queen. Oliver Queen is talking about some stuff that isn't very Oliver Queeny. He even calls Batman Wayne instead of Brucey.
Yes.
There's a bunch of things that are in the dialogue of Oliver Queen that gives Bruce Wayne enough clues that this might not be Oliver Queen truly calling Bruce Wayne.
And there's a great gag around here too. There's a gag from the last issue. It actually might be motivation. They're doing this joke where Bruce plays these like old-timey rich person sports with like other rich people.
Yeah.
And like Oliver Queen makes fun of him for playing polo.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't do that, Oliver. And then he tells Alfred to cancel his polo game.
As soon as he gets off the phone with Oliver Queen.
It's a fun bit.
And one of the other lines that are in that bit is, Bruce is like, what happened to Ollie? I don't trust machines smarter than my toaster Queen, you know? Because I guess, Oliver Queen, Green Arrow, is traditionally the guy.
He's a Luddite.
He's the guy with a bow and arrow, for Lord's sake. So he's not exactly the detective-oriented, technology-using billionaire that Bruce Wayne is.
Yeah.
But since Bruce Wayne is getting these weird signals from Oliver, is in the middle of being framed for something he didn't do, he takes it upon himself to do further research as Bruce Wayne.
Yes, and I've figured out where the story goes after that. Why they pick up Metamorpho, they're going to Simon Stagg's wake. He takes Metamorpho there. The only people who are there,
Clark
does.
The
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Clark takes him to the wake, and it's only Simon Stagg's bodyguards.
Clark doesn't take anybody to the wake. Clark shows up to the wake by himself.
But Metamorpho was there
to do an article on the.
He's doing his obituary
on the actual thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and he notices something off about Simon Stagg around the same time Bruce is doing his detective work, and that's that Simon Stagg's brain, or there's a wrong smell. Superman has been to enough funerals that he knows the smell of formaldehyde, especially with his super senses. Body doesn't smell like that. I don't know if this was an intentional thing by Dan Moore, but the brain also looks like weird.
Yeah, it looks funny. Yep.
Yeah. Dan Moore's too good an artist. I thought at first, like, oh, that's just a weird interpretation. I was like, no, this is a robot thing. Because we learn Bruce pieced it together because all these billionaires trying to buy up artificial intelligence, not acting like themselves. He pieced together it's Dr. Ivo, the guy who made Amazo, who has been making these duplicates, who probably either took out Simon Stagg or is working with Simon Stagg, because we know Simon Stagg is Undead now. And
Meanwhile, Clark and Dick Grayson are chasing the Metamorpho lead.
Yeah.
Which follows them to a guy named Magnus. Metamorpho was taking out certain of his rogues galleries, and so Dick Grayson, using his knowledge, predicts who the next person that Metamorpho is going to take out properly.
Yeah.
They find him at this road.
They figure out that he's going down Central America.
Yeah, so they find Metamorpho, and they speak to him, and then Metamorpho, I believe, the next person Metamorpho was going to visit was this guy Magnus, I think. And so they go over to Magnus, I guess, and Metamorpho wants to, like, scare the truth out of his enemies. He wants to find out who's truly framing him and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought there was some solid detective work being done by Dick Grayson, and an opportunity for them to establish the Superman-Dick Grayson relationship that exists long in comics. There's even a joke that Clark has a better detective or something like that.
He's like, you've ruined me. Bruce is talking to Clark. He's like, you've ruined me. You've lost your detective.
Your
like,
best
I have another detective.
Oh, I got another detective.
I got the second best one.
Yeah. So Stagg is alive somewhere.
Yeah, presumably. We know at least this is in his corpse.
And Ivo is replacing billionaires with robots, presumably. The only reason he hasn't replaced Bruce Wayne with the robots because Bruce Wayne went into police custody. It was not part of Ivo's plans. That was part of Stagg's plans. This is going wrong for Ivo just as well as it's going badly for our heroes.
And the other thing to figure out, Ivo has never been able to replicate accurate humans. So they piece together based on the technology in the Simon Stagg corpse, or just the general specs of these robots, that he must be getting his intelligence from this guy, the leader of the Metal Men, and that something's gone wrong with him. And Batman has been in the public eye long enough, he can start operating as Batman again. So he goes to check that out.
He gets cleared, I think, somehow.
Yes. There's like a line about how he's cleared in the courts, but he still has to worry about the court of public opinion, and that's all he has to worry about.
Yeah, I think he has like a solid alibi or something like that gets him cleared or some reason. There's something I think me and Chris are both missing, and I'm a little confused too. It's not Superman and Dick that goes to visit Magnus. It's Batman and Metamorpho that fly to upstate New York to visit Magnus's labs. This guy Magnus is the guy who created the Metal Men.
Yeah.
And when they show up to upstate, they're looking for the Metal Men. They're wondering why they can't find Magnus, because the Metal Men would have theoretically protected Magnus from whoever is framing Metamorpho. The Metal Men are found in a melting pot.
Yeah.
A hot iron melting pot, and one of them is like in the art. I'll pull that page up over here, screaming for help. And we don't go back to that lab. In this issue, that Batman Metamorpho line gets dropped right there.
Yes.
That's our leave off on that. And then our leave off on Superman and Dick Grayson's end is that Ivo's made his own Metamorpho. It's the splash page at the end. This dude who can do the same thing as Metamorpho, but with other elements outside of the human body.
Yeah, so he makes himself into kryptonite.
Kryptonite! Making Superman go down and giving Dick Grayson a chance to shine probably in the next issue to come up with a plan. Did we miss anything? There's definitely a missing connection that we are not putting together in what, like, where, like, Metamorpho gets picked up by Bruce and...
So, Clark takes Metamorpho back to Gotham when they find his other enemy. Because you're thinking, you're kind of combining two different events. He's fighting someone else in Central America. Magnus is a good guy and the leader of the Metal Men.
Right.
So they go and investigate that after, once they figure out that these robots are too good for Ivo. There must be something wrong with their intelligence.
What I'm missing is, it's definitely Dick and Superman that find Metamorpho.
Yes.
But then Metamorpho ends up going with Batman.
There's a separate meeting where they start talking about Ivo and how it can't be him solely doing the building.
Okay.
So all the 4 characters meet up and then they split off. Batman goes to Metamorpho because of the Outsiders.
Okay.
Superman goes to Robin.
And that's where it ends. So it was a relatively quick issue. A lot of the
Yep.
time in the issue was spent on establishing shots, especially in the beginning of the issue. They show you the Fortress of Solitude and what it looks like at the moment. They show you the Batcave and what that looks like at the moment. There's a bunch of really cool scenes where Dan Mora gets to do his thing and establish these backgrounds and where they're talking from.
Yeah, there's a lot more locations in this issue than typical. We're typically stuck in Gotham or another setting for the whole issue. We're jumping all over the world this issue. So Dan Mora gets to play a lot.
There is a line that that Clark delivers to Bruce, and that he says, "Try having a job sometime," because Bruce is like getting mad that Jimmy Olsen has has framed Bruce Wayne, which was incorrect.
Yeah.
Clark couldn't do anything about it, but Clark also needed to act as Clark Kent and keep his job, so he couldn't, tell him that I'm Superman. I know Batman didn't.
You can't publish this story. How could Bruce Wayne do this?
So,
Clark Kent doesn't know Bruce Wayne.
So Bruce gets a pot shot at him because he doesn't have a real job other than being a playboy billionaire, I guess. But Batman's job as Batman is pretty demanding.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was a little ignorant of Superman. But also a joke, mostly, anyway, between the friends.
There's a really weird Robin line in here. One thing I've been noticing about this book, Mark Waid's like 60, and he keeps trying to use modern slang with his younger characters. I don't think it fits. I think the line is really weird.
Do you know what it was?
Do you want me to look it up?
No, if you can't come up with it. I usually have a bunch of complaints when I read this comic, or like gripes and stuff. I didn't really have any complaints, but I thought that they moved this one along pretty well.
Yeah. And
they distracted me with Dan Moore art for like half the comic, because half the comic is the conversation between Bruce and Clark, and then Bruce and other people, where it's just backgrounds and stuff like that and faces. Solid artwork throughout the entirety of this, man. That's where my compliments go.
Yeah.
And I still can feel the Silver Age thing that he's trying to put across with a lot of the characters and where he's taking the storyline.
With this specific plot line, there's so much technology in it. I think it's, it seems more modern day-ish, I think, just because of how much cell phone usage is like part of it.
Yeah. So I would say that this was a good comic book. I wouldn't say that this had even maybe the depth that some of the issues that came before it had. Or it seemed like this was really spent on progressing the storyline that we're being delivered in the comic.
Yeah.
You got anything to leave off on?
No.
Super quick. Let's move along to Nightwing, number issue 103. We didn't pick up the World's Finest cover. Let's do that quick.
This one's great. I love the puzzle piece motif.
Dan Mora cover. It was really good. But then we got this Nightwing cover. I got the variant. I believe is done by. This is Travis Moore and Von Villain. You got the Redondo cover, I believe. Redondo's not on this book anymore, or at least at the moment.
Yeah, he definitely will be back on. I've since looked it up. He's coming back eventually.
I don't even know why they did this cover, to be honest with you, with all these like fancy wedding dress, like party dress kind of things.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Hellfire Gala.
It might have been to commemorate the book launching, like when they did this piece to commemorate the Titans #1 announcement, and they just threw it on the cover.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Very formal wear for a formal book, I guess.
Yeah.
So we got Nightwing 103, which is Tom Taylor, Trav Moore. This guy, Vasco Georgiev, who helps Trav Moore with some of the art duties, because there's two different storylines going on in here. There's the We Are in Hell storyline, and then there's the Earth storyline. The Titans kind of separate, and it's juggled by two different artists, which is a cool way of doing a comic, and like taking less weight off of the monthly person that's doing the comic, which is Trevor. Travis Moore, sorry. And then Adriano Lucas is doing the colors here. So this is Hell Heist. I'm going to try and do a summary because I think this one's pretty quick. The team splits up. You got the boys and Raven, and then you got the ladies. The ladies are on Earth trying to defend Olivia?
Yes.
From whatever might be chasing her, mostly demons. And then you have Dick, Gar, and Cyborg, Beast Boy, Cyborg, and Raven are in Hell, and they're looking for the contract that states that Neron is owed Olivia's soul.
Yeah.
They find that contract.
Yep.
They go through Hell. Raven has a note that she doesn't want to be noticed by her father while she's down there. She also puts on this, like, barrier so that the heroes don't see the terrible things that are happening in Hell as they traverse through Hell. They find Neron after he gets embarrassed by another Lord of Hell.
Yes.
Or was it the other way around?
She comes to him because he was embarrassed, and then he makes her fall to her knees.
Yeah, so Neron
She brings him the teeth or something of one of his demons, and he beats it back right into her.
Yeah. So then we got Donna Troy and Starfire and Olivia and where's Wally?
He's patrolling the prison the Grinning Man is at.
So he's also on Earth.
Yes.
Okay.
And Barbara Gordon's also with the girls.
And we got brought Babs into the issue, who delivers this line. You know, they're trying to talk about how safe Olivia is, and one of the lines that Barbara says is Donna Troy is freaking Donna Troy, after she's complimenting that, like, star power is super powerful, and Barbara's the detective, and Donna Troy is just she's Donna Troy. You know, she's badass.
Yeah.
Continuing on, I don't think there's much to what is, you know, they get the contract, they leave Hell with the contract, they run into Neron, I think, at some point, right?
Yes.
This is where my summary is starting to fall off a little bit. So Beast Boy turns into a demon. To try and, like, help them. He's trying to, like, get into the castle that Neron lives in, and so he turns into a demon that's supposed to have captured Cyborg and Nightwing or what have you.
It's more accurate to say also that Neron comes to Dick, because Dick is in City Hall. He comes up with this scheme after reading Neron's contract that he's going to take partial ownership of Olivia, because Neron needed both parental signatures, I guess, to sign off on this document.
Right.
Mom's dead, but Dick can fill in her place, so he can no longer. This contract's now null and void from a lawyer point of view. And so Neron comes to him and offers him everything. He offers him superpowers, the Speed Force, anything he would need to help. He would become Super Wing, they say at the end of the issue.
Yeah.
But he has to give up Olivia. I think he has to give up Olivia.
Yeah. He has to sign the contract.
Yeah.
Which is not going to happen, of course. But what's cool and what came out of this is there is a splash page at the end where Dick gets to don an old-timey, like, Silver Age, maybe Bronze Age costume.
Yeah, it almost looks like his first new Teen Titans design.
And I'll pull that splash page up here. But to also finish up this summary, Dr. Polaris, Grodd, and the Grinning Man have escaped prison and are on Themyscira, which is not good, those are men, to go and capture Olivia. So, you know, the ladies have their hands full. Dick has his hands full. It seems like the story is at a turning point of some level.
One of my favorite pages of this issue is when the Grinning Man disguised as Wonder Woman kicks Olivia in the gut. I thought it was really... It was kind of funny.
She goes soaring. And there's like a onomatopoeia there. I'll pull that page up too.
It's sort of horrific but funny in like the same capacity.
Yeah, it was. There's a lot of
unexpected.
There's a lot of humorous moments throughout.
Tom Taylor. This is something
good humor.
Yeah, and humor is part of the plot because he'll use like mundane elements in a supernatural situation, like when they're looking through Hell to find the contract. The record keeper is just a computer with too many tabs and a bunch of malware.
Like he couldn't get anything. Cyborg hacks into the Hell's computer system, which Hell having a computer system is a ridiculous theory to think about. But the fact that these computer
and it's like a Macintosh, like an 80s Macintosh.
Super old, really slow, filled with spam, filled with malware. Like you can't get anything done on these computers. It is a computer nerd's, office nerd's hell version of a computer, and it's pretty well done in this comic to the point of humorous.
Yeah.
So Cyborg managed to pull out the stuff he needs, but it does take him a second.
And again, the same thing. I don't think it's meant as a joke, but I thought it was humorous that Nightwing gets out of this demon contract by treating it like a legal contract. Because, like, there's no way this contract is legally binding to the U.S. courts, but Dick treats it like it is.
No, but yeah, Dick says, he says, I think we could save Olivia's soul with local government.
Yeah.
I think what he really means is that he knows enough about laws and regulations that he's going to be able to talk Neron out of this.
Yeah, he was a police officer for a long time. They have to have a similar understanding of the law to a lawyer. Not quite as vast, but similar.
Another thing to note about the contract is the parenting, right? We got Blockbuster, but then who's the mother of Olivia? We find out is this like assassin that got killed by decapitation by Damien's mom, Talia al Ghul.
It was an old fling of Bruce Wayne's, a notable one too. I recognize the name, but I don't. Again, I'm bad with names.
Definitely went south for that lady. She is long dead, decapitated.
Yeah.
So Nightwing is, and Dick Grayson more accurately, is the legal guardian of Olivia now, and can sign off on this contract. Is obviously not going to, but that's where the book is heading. Yeah. Along with the other Titans having to deal with Dr. Polaris, Gorilla Grodd, and the Grinning Man on Themyscira. You got anything to note? I thought it was cool that they shared art duties. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty high, it's heavy stuff to have to pump out a comic book every month, especially if you're doing other comics. So to share art duties, and then not only to share those art duties, but to have those art duties dictated by the writers that you know you're doing, this guy's doing hell, this guy's doing the Earth sequences. It gives the reader a little bit of a treat because you know the two different storylines every time you're reading the stuff.
Yeah. This is something Skylar I don't think we'll complain about. This has been a Titans book for 3 issues. I know Nightwing is very tied to the Titans, but we have a Titans book coming out. I feel like the story could have been moved to there. We could move forward with the ongoing Nightwing plot. A lot of things we're leaving on the table still. Well, I would almost rather we move forward with solo book adventures.
It's Titans involved heavy.
This is a Titans story,
but it's an Olivia story, which is a Blockbuster story, which is a Nightwing story.
It's about Olivia, but even though Dick is the POV character, the Titans are instrumental in moving things forward.
Absolutely.
Like when the Justice League showed up in the Chip Zdarsky Batman arc, I wouldn't say that became a Justice League story just because they helped Bruce along, put him back on track, leave him. The Titans are actively involved in this story. They are moving the story forward the whole time. There are things that Dick isn't doing that the Titans are doing. This is a Titans book. Not that big. Home of the Titans. That's so around the cover. It's not that big a deal. I would rather we get back to normal Nightwing stories, personally.
Which we're kind of getting in the backup.
Yes, and I actually like that backup quite a bit.
This was my least favorite backup. So, quick summary, because this one's easy.
I agree, because it's really confusing.
I don't think it's confusing. You'll see what I mean in a moment.
Okay.
They're at this carnival. They're trying to figure out who cut the rope in the past couple issues, who almost killed the trapeze artist. They thought it was the trapeze artist herself. Why would she kill her son, try to kill her son? In this issue, we find out it wasn't her. It was the son who had cut the rope.
And not for any malintent, he was trying to...
Wasn't suicidal or anything.
No, he was just trying to make an accident. There was supposed to be a rope, net, we find out. The reason there wasn't was... I don't know why there wasn't.
We don't have a reason why there wasn't a net.
It's just, there was supposed to be one. The rope was supposed to get cut. It was supposed to be a traumatic event for him so that he could live a normal life. And that's all he wants.
Yeah.
He wants to be a normal kid. He doesn't like the ridicule that he gets from being a circus kid. He doesn't like the training. Wants to do something else with his life.
Figured this would scare his mom enough to let his mom let him do normal kid stuff.
Yes.
And, this is all mostly driven so that we can show Nightwing and John Kent's response to this kind of a kid doing something so drastic. Nightwing grew up a trapeze artist himself, so he's trying to see some parallels between this kid and stuff. And I don't know that he sees them, but the parallels that are there are that Dick Grayson got taken from the circus life to do Robin stuff, and Robin stuff exclusively for a long time. This was one of the problems that he had with Bruce Wayne over the course of time, is that Robin wanted to do his own thing, and Bruce was like, no, you're a soldier, you need to do X, Y, and Z. that's when he went left and became Nightwing.
And John helps him associate that with, too, by mentioning how he lost his childhood due to Bendisisms.
Yeah.
That, he
getting
lost
trapped in a dimension for
somewhere,
years and years. Being menaced by a demon lord in that dimension on top of that.
Okay.
So both Nightwing and John Kent, Superman, kind of missed out on being a kid on one form or another, and so felt empathy for the kid that tried to cut his own rope.
And Dick mentions they're going to do something different from now on, and he's happy for the kid.
And John says a very Superman line: "We can all learn from each other."
Yeah.
Which is
And again, Tom Taylor isn't writing this backup, right?
No, it's this guy C.S. Packhat, and the art is by Eduardo Pansica and Julio Ferreira, with colors by Adriano Lucas.
And again, not missing a beat, both of these characters, Tom Taylor's the main person. I would argue John, he has almost solely dictated his personality. This guy's nailing it, getting all these good Supermanisms.
Yeah.
This issue made me really sad, that part, just because I was a huge fan growing up of the Super Sons title. Missing that golden era of John Kent, him in his youth, that's something I feel a lot. So I was moved by that little backup. Why I called it confusing is I think the more accurate word is convenience. Because this is completely unrelated to the reason we're here.
Yeah.
Someone was setting up this circus explosion to get Dick Grayson's attention.
Yeah.
We've forgotten about this.
There was
He's like, this bomb, he's been moving past it.
Yeah.
That bomb was not set by this kid.
No.
When he thought it might have been the mom, he's like, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some balance that the mom could have done this. There's no way the kid did this. So
so
there's another thing at play here, completely unrelated to the cutting of this trapeze.
So I'm not confused as much as I don't believe in coincidence.
Yeah, again, it's way too convenient.
Batman also does not believe in coincidence, and therefore Dick Grayson does not believe in coincidence. This really seems like coincidence. This seems like this writer's writing in coincidence.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the case. Maybe the net being missing is
because
also like a tell.
The rope being cut, I think that was the tell. And that being an unrelated event, I think is ridiculous. Because it had to have been set up somehow. Because that's the only way Dick would notify
Who took the net away?
Yeah.
We don't know
who
took the net away. So I think that's the tell that it might not be coincidental. But so far, coincidental.
Yeah.
Which doesn't feel good.
And maybe the rope was... Again, maybe the rope was supposed to be cut anyway, and this kid just did it again. Yeah. Another crazy coincidence.
Maybe the rope was cut twice.
I guess the kid could be an actor. Do you remember that Tom King Batman story where that kid pretended to be Bruce Wayne? Maybe we're doing something like that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't love that if that's the direction the story. It went nowhere.
I don't. We're moving on.
Yeah.
Side story was fine. I thought it was going to be better. It could have been better. It was fine. The main story was good. It is partially a Titans title, but we are gearing up to Titans #1.
Yeah.
There's probably a reason for this. I'd imagine this book's going to tie right into that #1, bring us in real smooth, and maybe even have an editor's note so that other people go and read this Nightwing run, which totally deserves the credit that it's getting.
Sure.
You got anything to leave off on there, Chris?
I think I mentioned everything.
Yeah, I think I got everything too. We're going to move on to DCeased. #8, the final DCeased book ever, to my knowledge.
Probably. This was very confusing.
I got the Jacinto cover, Jaslento cover.
This is a Howard Porter.
And that's Howard Porter. We got the art team made up of Tom Taylor, Trevor Harrison, this guy Meyer, this guy Andy Lanning doing the inks, and Barreto doing colors. It's a big team on this book because it is a big book. It is the last book of every DCeased book ever, and it really comes to a pretty decent conclusion.
Yeah. We've been talking about this ramping up effect, and I think a good thing that this issue lets us know, we're kind of done with that. We've introduced everything. We've solved most of the problems. Now we're back to the root problem that if all these other things hadn't happened, we could have done an issue 1. We're really cutting back to basics. We have this very simple plan. This is a very simple issue, but very emotionally effective. Do you want me to do the summary, or do you want to do it?
I think I got it, but feel free to chime in. Everything is good again. The title opens up with them in a great place. Everybody's cured. Jacob's, the Mr. Miracle's kid is back with Mr. Miracle and Barda. They've cured some of the other people. It seems like they're finally at a place where they can like live and be happy. But the background of knowledge is Erebos is still out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Batman knows this, Damian Wayne. And so he can't leave this because he knows there's a chance that Erebos could come back again and destroy everything they've worked for.
Right.
There's been so many people that have died in this course that they just can't leave Erebos out there. So Damian concocts a plan that he really doesn't tell literally anyone.
Yeah.
And so he tells Cyborg some. He tells Wonder Woman
I think he tells Cyborg
some.
the whole thing, but he deletes it from his memory bank. So he keeps moving along as if he knows the plan, but eventually realizes he doesn't.
He deletes the living equation from Cyborg's memory bank, so that the living equation is only left in Damian Wayne's, so that Damian Wayne is the one who has to stick around.
Okay.
Nobody knows Damian's plan. Cyborg has an idea, because Damian has told him the plan, but it's not the plan. So Damian's got a plan he's trying to enact. He starts telling some of the other heroes, a lot of the other heroes jump on board to enact this plan. And the plan is, that Damian knows of, is he has figured out how to come up with the life equation out of Cyborg's brain.
Yep.
We find out later that Batman had long installed a control device in Cyborg that allows Batman to dictate what Cyborg can and can't do, basically.
Yeah.
Damian uses that on his friend to delete the plans that he had told Cyborg, delete the life equation as well, so that Damian is the only one who can carry it.
Right.
So they enter this different dimension, which takes them to die for a second. They use War World to traverse into the other dimension. Yeah. They get killed by Brainiac Cyborg for like a millisecond. They traverse into the new dimension where Erebos is. They take the god Ares and Black Racer with them, who's
Ares, Black Racer, and Yellow Lantern Darkseid to use a distraction to distract Erebos.
To fight Erebos while they cut a hole in Erebos so they can enter Warworld into Erebos and then insert the life equation that will basically antithesis all of Erebos.
Yeah.
They do so all together successfully. They enter the thing, they die, they wake back up. They cut a huge hole in Erebos, who looks like this like Cthulhu whale human,
Lovecraftian,
or the God Butcher kind of looking dude, made of like super darkness, black all over and stuff, and they're in this cut, and Damian basically has to sacrifice himself because he's the only one who knows the life equation. But in sacrificing himself, he is going to spawn a big bang out of Erebos, creating a whole new universe. Everybody leaves the dimension on Cyborg's orders, who is being dictated by Damian, Batman, because he controls Cyborg. Mandatories everybody leave. Cyborg gets everybody out of there. But John Kent refuses to leave. John Kent wants to be by Damian when he dies.
And they do a really great reprisal of a scene from DCeased 1 where Damian is in mourning and John goes, like, he just sits by him and goes, I'm just going to sit here and let you deal with your stuff.
Yeah, it gives us this like perfect true ending, because a lot of this book has been dealt around Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, mostly Batman and Superman. It's almost been a Trinity book on the side. And so another thing that they mention is that Oliver Queen had spoiled the ending to this book in like the first installment of DCeased. He came to Batman and said, Batman, you can't die to a zombie virus. You're going to die to some giant cosmic world-saving event. And that's how Damian actually dies at the end of the book. I'm going to pull up that page just because it's a really good line. Then right after that, I'm going to pull up the page that Chris is talking about, where Spectre Alfred manages to seep John Kent into World right before and as Batman is going to sacrifice himself, so that he can be there just for moral support for Damian before he's about to end his life in sacrifice. Right. It's really nice for Alfred to be there as well, to help him out, to help out John Kent. John Kent has to promise, and Alfred has to promise to Superman, who's also around, that John Kent will live through this, and Alfred will pull him out in the last moments and fly out of there. They enact it. Damian dies, sacrifices himself, a new universe is created. Alfred goes back to that universe towards the end of the book to see what has come out of his son's creation. Yeah. Is very happy in a way and sad at the same time that his son had to be sacrificed. But his last son had to be sacrificed, but it's a beautiful galaxy. And the end is a splash page with Alfred looking over his son's works, and there's a huge like Batman bat symbol constellation in the air on the splash page that it ends. One of my favorite parts of this book is Nightwing sneaks up on the Black Racer. Batman sneaks up on the Black Racer. Black Racer is the embodiment of DC heroes, DC Universe's Death figure, basically. And Batman can sneak up on Death. And even Black Racer acknowledges this.
There are a few mortals who sneak up behind them.
And earns Damian's respect in doing so. Yeah. Black Racer then is happy to listen to Damian. And I believe Black Racer is maybe the only one who actually gets told the full plan of what's going on. Because how else would Damian convince Black Racer to do something?
He needs Black Racer to confirm his plan will work. Because he has this thesis that the life equation mixed with the anti-life equation will cancel each other out and also
create a big bang.
Yeah.
You got anything to add in addition here, Chris? It was a perfect and true ending to an epic,
this is almost self-contained from the rest of the 7 issues beforehand. This is a true ending to just DCeased. We have finished the plot, the plot of DCeased 3. Now we're wrapping up these characters. It's a great send-off. I love the final lines from Alfred where he's just like, my bats, my sons.
Yeah.
I think that's all he actually says, because he's looking at the galaxy and he's so moved by everything they've done together. The impact Bruce Wayne's life has had.
It's both beautiful and sad at the same time.
Gorgeous.
The exact quote that Chris was talking about with Superman at the end of the issue, where he goes to comfort Damian Wayne, is John says to Damian, I thought I'd just sit here so you're not alone.
Yeah.
I was almost in an A tier when I read that, because it's a reprisal of another time that John Kent had done that for Damian earlier.
Yeah, when Bruce Wayne dies in the first issue.
John and Damian are best friends, just like Superman and Batman were best friends, and to see that relationship grow and be established and continue throughout the series is really emotionally weighty, and a perfect cherry on top to send the book off.
A great opportunity DCeased has provided Tom Taylor is we can allow these characters to grow up in real time to some extent. These characters have grown older as the books go along. Unlike with John Kent continuity where we had to skip seeing him grow up, we do here too, but he has all these memories. His characters have grown old together and they now have to say goodbye to each other.
Yeah.
And it's very,
Damian's only 18 years old, they mentioned.
Yes, his birthday. John wishes him happy birthday as he's killing himself. Or sacrificing himself.
On his birthday, which he is birthing a new universe in, so that's only fitting. One of the things that I liked as well is Darkseid says, this is most impressive when Damian decides to sacrifice himself. And nobody likes Darkseid's praise, but Darkseid is the scariest of the new gods. And so getting that praise from a guy like Darkseid is still pretty high praise. So that's amazing that he acknowledges Damian and more accurately Batman.
Acknowledging life even. He's such a being of anti-life and so self-centered that I think this is the only time in Darkseid's life where he's thinking of another person as important.
Yeah, and Darkseid obviously doesn't want to die as much as he believes in the anti-life. So Batman sacrificing himself for Darkseid as much as he is for the rest of the galaxy that he lives in. Ares gets decapitated by Erebos. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
A lot of the action was really cool, like Lobo cutting the hole in Erebos and stuff with his little sickle and stuff. And them keeping the hole open with the strength of Shazam on Batgirl and things of that nature.
And I love going back to Ares. Lobo's taunting of Ares earlier in this issue, where it's typical of the god of war, you can incite it, but you can't let it, you won't be there at the end.
Yeah, they really tried to goad Ares into doing this, and they do a proper job of that, which was also part of Damian's plan that they revealed.
Because they need all three of these gods to distract Erebos. They need his attention away from them so much they can poke a hole in him.
Damian's clearly got the perfect plan to end this off on, and he needs every little facet of it to go as well as he needs it to go, so he's got reasons for the things he's doing. Up to and including egging Ares on to be the god of war that he actually is.
And another thing, the goodbye between Wonder Woman and Batman, Cassie and Damian, is really good too.
Damian's a liar.
Yeah, it's a lot more aggressive than the one between him and Superman, because Wonder Girl will never, I won't say never find out what Damian's plan is, but at that time he's hiding it from her, and she knows. More or less put together he's not coming back, and she's very angry that he won't even tell her.
More accurately, she knows that he's hiding something from her, and she's upset that he won't tell her, and he knows it's true, and she knows it's true, and that's it.
There's a certain tragedy to the end of the relationship, being in arguments, being in kind of hate, or I would say in that moment she does hate Damien to some extent.
Yeah. What'd you think about the art in this particular issue?
It's about the same as it always is, I think.
I
think
thought
it's good.
I thought it was really strong. I thought it was even more focused now than it usually is.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I noticed is like all of the horror moments were rendered really horrific, whereas all of the moments of triumph and light were rendered really triumphant, really like big superhero poses and things of that nature. So I thought it was really fitting. They focused on like where their strengths were in the book, and after doing so many of these, that makes a lot of sense that they knew how to put down a line in specific panels and moments and stuff. You got anything to add to this?
This is just something I heard from Tom Taylor. If you are wondering what happened to some of the stuff on Earth, he mentioned that there was just literally no room for it in this book. He was talking about it recently just because the book had ended. I thought it was worth noting. There are some unresolved plot points, so maybe the DCeased universe will continue in a prequel in between pages of this book, but this is pretty finite.
It really...
I actually would not be excited if a DCeased 4 was announced. I think they have just had the perfect ending. I wouldn't say not excited, but I don't think they need it. I don't really want it.
No, this book is done.
Yeah.
This is, even the end had no question mark at the end of it. This is the final installment. Erebos is gone. The threat is gone. The people that are dead need to be dead. The people that are alive are brought back to life. There is nothing to further tell in this story. And it's got a beautiful ending that feels so finite. How would you even continue this title without a Batman? There's no Batmans left.
Yeah.
There's nobody to fill that slot.
I guess Cassandra Cain could be Batman.
She's gonna, she would have to take it, but she barely talks.
Yeah.
So that'd be pretty difficult.
Is Stephanie Brown alive?
I don't know.
I don't think so. She hasn't been around. And that seems like a big exclusion, because every other Ace the Bat Hound was in this series.
That's true.
Pretty sure Steph is dead, unfortunately.
I don't know that Tom Taylor has a sweet spot for Stephanie Brown at all. So.
No, he's not a big Tom... he doesn't seem to be a big Tim Drake guy. He doesn't, With Tinian, you can tell he loves Tim Drake. He doesn't really write that character.
Absolutely. So I got nothing to say other than, this is the perfect ending to a series that I didn't know how they were going to end properly anyway.
Yeah.
So every issue, they turn up, they raise the stakes, raise the stakes, raise the stakes. You get to this issue, and you're like, how do they further raise the stakes? Oh, they introduce Erebos, and they kill him. They kill him in the most savage way possible. They sacrifice our last and only Batman to do it. Mm-hmm. Which, hurts me on a personal level, and at the same time makes me really proud.
Yeah.
It's a great moment. Great book. Great wrap-up. Incredible story. A true epic of DC that will probably be referenced for years to come. Because this is a great title I probably suggest to anybody.
This is a book that began very nihilistically and ended very optimistically.
Yeah, there's such
we really, you really build to that emotion of, this fear, especially the first DCeased. We were talking about the ending of the first DCeased and just how downer it kind of is. There's a touch of hopefulness.
Yeah.
This ending is very, uplifting. It feels good when you're done with this book, even though you're, sad.
Even our heroes are even our villains are heroes.
Yeah. Even
Darkseid is somebody worth rooting for because he has helped so much we wouldn't be able to get to where we are without him.
Yep. The being of anti-life fights for life.
And
the end of this book.
This may be an epic, but just like the Odyssey, there are such heavy emotional beats here, and weightiness and depth, and things you could take out of this and pull from, and homages to other things and other parts and other apocalyptic stories, and there's a lot that he pulls out of DC continuity characters and all sorts of stuff that don't show up in other books even. This book has gone on for now years. I want to say maybe 5-6 years now, and it feels like a book that Tom Taylor might have actually written all at once because of how well he's been able to progress the storyline over the course of these 4
And even more impressively, I don't think he did.
I know he didn't. There's no way.
But it's so seamless.
But it's,
you could see it. This is almost... I think this is Tom Taylor's epic. I like DCeased.
Yeah, it is.
Or not DCeased, Injustice. But I like this book a lot
because
more.
DCeased was truly his idea, whereas Injustice was him
he's
writing
playing off of something, and he doesn't even write all of it.
No.
And there's no proper ending to Injustice.
No.
Also, because there's this game series that could keep going.
He-Man is the proper ending to Injustice. There is a He-Man crossover that didn't see.
Well, that's only one of the Injustice endings.
Oh, jeez.
There's another, if you play the game, there's 2 separate endings. Tom Taylor ends one of them in Injustice He-Man. There's an ongoing one, too.
So, like, and one of the reasons I really think that it could be possible that he had started this and ended this as one giant run that he had written at once is that Oliver Queen foretelling in the first installment. You know that he put that there probably with the smallest inkling and idea, because he loves giving Oliver Queen jokes, that this might actually pan out.
I think even more importantly, that's just what he thinks about Batman.
Right.
I think that's just his interpretation of Batman. He could have ended DCeased there, and I think there's some regret to Tom Taylor. Like, it's weighty the way Batman dies in DCeased 1. He dies with a thud, not a bang.
Yeah.
But, you know, Tom Taylor, big Grant Morrison fan, I know he believes what Oliver Queen says. I think it's just more that, like, you know, that's how he thinks Batman dies. That's how he thinks the legacy of Batman ends.
Yeah.
And so, given a chance to wrap that up, he takes that chance.
That is the perfect way.
Yep.
I think that puts us at our end as well.
Yes.
Thanks for watching. We're going to have a Shonen Jump up shortly for April 2003, our 20th anniversary review of Shonen Jump. Stay tuned every week for a new episode of the Weekly Wednesday Warrior. Thanks for watching.
Have a good one.